I'm sorry, I'm capable of doing that. There you go. French berry.
Oh, there it all is.
Is it like a fancy word for
Alright,
Yeah, we're live.
The beginning of the party is forgetting food and talking to one another about your feelings. And then we'll get
You said it right there.
There we go.
Boom, roasted.
I don't know.
Whoa. There's a lag on that.
How do I get this in?
Oh, man.
Oh, that thing.
Show
my name.
Oh, we better see ourselves notice ourselves.
Oh, freak out.
There's a lag, so we just saw ourselves notice ourselves.
Oh boy. Not my fault. Maybe we should
Oh, look at caught Simi just talking into the camera. That's good.
computer.
Do you want anything to drink? Wait,
For sure.
What are we doing? What is the pizza?
French berry lemonade.
Your dinner as well?
Wait a minute, is this thing recording? Is this thing recording right now?
Yeah, I think we're live.
Oh, wow. Cool.
There is no doubt.
That was you.
That's me.
Yeah.
Like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. It's live streaming.
And then in another 10 seconds, we're going to say, oh, look, it's you.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're live.
Strawberry.
It's strawberry. Well, that's not. Do you want some of that too?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Kimberly Walsh is coming, but she wanted to bring.
Oh, sure. Yeah, she said she wanted to, but she wasn't sure if she'd be able to. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
You need help?
No. I
I'm leaving this for
Live streaming.
We're streaming live.
Oh, can you ask for consent?
God, every time I see you, you just have like shit.
How are you?
How's it going? Earlier I got an email from a student who was like, my stomach is in knots, I can't make it to the final.
Oh no.
So it's going around.
I hope it's not. I think it's just because I drank coffee.
Oh.
That was not a lot of milk and sugar in it.
Yeah, and that's something to avoid for
Yeah.
sure.
You know what? It's my lesson now. But whatever.
Yo, didn't talk to you on Monday. Yes. Okay, then you no, that's okay. It's better for you to eat. You actually need to ask someone else.
It actually does.
Fair enough. I'm not quite good yet, but things are starting to get. No.
What's happening?
We're doing
Alright, hello everybody. Hi. Welcome to the roast and toast of Adam Hermione. Adam's over there. He's gonna come up here in a minute and say something brief. And I want you all to remember that when you're roasting and toasting Adam, just to not look at him, okay? He's now a ghost. This is how this is working. So we're going to talk about him and around him and through him, right? But just he's going to sit in his corner in his beautiful suit, and you all can dance with him later. Thank you for coming. It's very sad, very exciting time to be alive. And I made a list. If we have a lot of anxious roasters and toasters and you want to get your name on the board to make sure you get a chance to say something, otherwise people can just feel free to come up and talk about Adams. If you have sound as part of what you're doing, we have this. It's a small room though, so I didn't make it here. Alright, so I'm going to let Adam come up and say one or two words. Everybody give a round of applause.
I'm kind of eulogizing myself, but I am deceased. I'll do my best. I did bring a bottle of water over there on the table. It's next to the live stream so the alums can watch. So you see right behind Kimberly, there's this bottle of Arrowhead water, actually from the ocean. I encourage everyone to get a little bit and put it in their hair. That's what I do. And feel a little bit of me within you. Also, the pins on those stack of papers and the squares there on the corner next to the ocean water, is because folks might not want to actually talk in front of people. I feel that. So if you'd rather just write something down, you can do that. Or if you feel like there's so many people talking, you want a chance, you can feel free to just write something down over there on those squares. I'm just going to sit over there and be quiet. Good luck.
What would you like to the name for?
Well, I guess it's technically to the entire globe, whoever found the lake, but mostly for the, hold on, super big. Everyone, it's 6 billion people.
Alright, so now's the time where you can all sit awkwardly and look at each other and think about who's going to go first. Or you can just go first. Excuse me, Zach?
Can you turn around and face the camera?
How are we going to see the look on his face if he does that?
Oh, God. All right, let's do it, Molly. You got this.
So Adam has given us a lot of really great clubs here in Johnston. Men Talk Laundry, which I didn't join. There's some other ones I didn't join. And IRA, which I also didn't join. So I thought I'd do a little research about IRA for you all. The Irish Republican Army from 1917 through 1922, and in later years became known as the Old IRA. The Irish Republican Army.
Please, keep going, keep going.
The Irish Republican Army was formed in 1922 through 1969. The anti-treaty IRA was fought and lost the Civil War. This is from Wikipedia, so you know it's not, you know. The official IRA, OIRA, the remainder of the IRA after 1969 split into the provincials. The provincial IRA, the PIRA, broke from the OIRA in 1969 over abstentionism and how to deal with the increasing violence in Northern Ireland. So obviously, Adam is both much more Irish and much older than we all initially anticipated. The Continuity IRA broke from the PIRA in 1986. The real IRA in 1997 broke from the PIRA, consisting of members opposed to the Northern Ireland peace process. And finally, in April 2011, former members of the Provisional IRA announced a resumption of hostilities. So we should all just be really proud of being so political and overseeing everything.
I'll go next. All right, Mary, get on up here.
So I'm trying to decide what I want to do first. Do I want to toast Adam first or roast him first? Or I'll roast him first. So, first off, let's kind of half toast, half roast this. I gotta say, Adam is one of those people who can pull off non-facial hair, like a clean shave, and he's a guy who can pull off facial hair. But he can only pull off, like, the regular scraggly thing, like he's got going, what the ghost has going right now. But I will say, he's had the full-blown Bushman beard, and I gotta tell you, it is... But you don't do the Bushman beard well. The other thing I'll say about Adam is that he plays a whole lot of nerdy board games with people. Like really nerdy. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's probably had this problem when I first met Adam. I could not pronounce his last name to save my life. I can now, though. Say it. Goodbye-y. Trust me, I was thinking like, he's not, and seriously, I had to figure it out at first. So, on to the toast. Adam is a really sweet guy. He always was able to answer any questions I had, and trust me, I asked him a lot of questions over the years about all this stuff. So thank you, Adam, for that. He's a really sweet guy. And you're going to be one of the first people I met when I first came to Johnston. And yeah, I'm gonna miss him. He's really great.
Inhale bubbles.
All right.
We have a couple of facts about Adam that maybe not everybody knows.
Yeah, some unknown facts. Adam and I were hanging out the other day, and I was like, Adam, tell me a secret. And he was like, I'm a Republican. There's that. Mallory, I know you have one.
Yeah, I've seen Adam snooze with his eyes open like 10 times.
I've seen Adam actually. Adam can get to the Roosters weekends. I've seen him unlock the door. So he's just hiding it from all of us. What else about Adam?
Also, another sneaky thing that we should get him to tell us about is the tunnel going from Old Beacon. He's got the key for that too.
Yeah. So do we talk about how Adam's a Republican? No, honestly, I haven't known Adam that long. But you know, sometimes I go into his office and complain, as like a lot of people do. And instead of Adam letting you complain, he's like, well, what? Well, what about this solution? And I'm like, God, Adam, I just want to be upset. Like, can you stop trying to make my life better? Yeah. All right. Well, like, also all those things we said in the first part were lies. Sorry.
Adam Devise can eat a whole pig.
Dearly beloved,
Amazing.
we are here to eulogize Adam Devise.
We're here to put him in the ground.
Father of 10, grandfather of 85. Sometime in the late 1860s, some explorers were discovering the unknown wasteland that is Easter Island, and they found a strapping baby boy, full of beard already. And they said, just leave him here. But the second group, they said, maybe this guy, maybe this little guy might be of some use to us. We might get hungry. So, the young baby boy was taken, was wrapped in a small blanket, and he sailed across the sea for many, many years, to the point that we really doubted whether they knew where they were going. And maybe about 130 years later, he found his way here, which they promptly buried him in the ground with only his head sticking up. You know, they're not monsters or anything. And somehow he's stuck around. I don't know where this is going.
Amazing. See how easy it is, everybody? Hop right up there.
I know who should go next to MG.
This is
Alright. This is a greeting card poem for Adam in honor of his 4 years of service. A little toast, a little roast for someone who truly deserves the most. Oh, Adam, with your great hair. Was it art or just a dare? To shave your head at renewal.
like some sort of sharp duel. Hair versus blade, why not a fade? Long beard, no more when I got here, oh what a bore. But wait, there's more! Suits every day, dressed to the nines, with thrift store threads, looking so fine. But what I really want to know, besides getting students to vote, hashtag 2016, is your kindness, how you're never mean. 4 years working beside you, laughing, crying, learning to. Thank you for giving this place your early 20s with such grace. People ask what is next. Boring question, just text. Because you could do anything. Adam, he could do anything, a colleague once said, and it's true. I wonder if you know this about you. So raise a glass. Is Kevin here to say a mass? Roman, my friend Roman, and no, you can always roam on home. To Adam. To
Alright, on to the congratulations. I have the top 3 things I'm going to most miss about Adam and the #1 thing that I won't miss about Adam. So item number 3 of things that I will miss about Adam is his ability to negotiate with student affairs in the most straightforward, hardcore way without his head exploding, which makes him a much better person than me. Number 2 thing I'm going to miss most about Adam is Adam's weird affect when giving announcements at community meetings. I'm Maeve. Item number 3, obviously, who will ask me all the French questions on the crossword now? And number 1 thing I will not miss about Adam is all the first-year students who arrive and fall in love with Adam.
Adam, what year are you?
22nd grade.
There's only one more question.
Okay. I made a list.
Oh,
5 things that you might or might not know about Adam. Number 5, he's a snoop. I went with him to New Year's at a club in LA 2 New Years ago. We showed up at an Airbnb, and the rest of us are like, let's get our drink on, let's get our party faces going. And Adam is like, I'm looking in every single drawer, and I am going to find out how much money they owe to people. Their kids go to school. 7 other adults were like, Adam, please stop. Adam, no, I'm not stopping. And so the rest of us got so embarrassed, we went to the club early. The owners weren't there, we just couldn't handle it. Number 4, you may or may not know, he can't smell. He's not the only person I know who can't smell, but he is definitely the only person I've gone to brunch with who drunkenly announced to the entire restaurant that he couldn't smell. And then when you said something smelled good, he said you were being smell-ableist. And asked you to stop. Number 3, he gets lost easily. I took Adam to his first electronic music festival at the beginning of March, and within 1 hour, on the first day, he was gone. And if you've ever been to one of these things, your cell phone doesn't really work, and you also don't really want to check it. And so, luckily, he wore his bright red puffy jacket, and someone said to me at some time around 8 o'clock, "Is that Adam?" We had just left, and I was like, "How's your day been?" And he was like, "What are we doing next?" So, keep him on a leash. Number 2, in addition to wandering off, he also falls over. Unlike a weeble, when he wobbles, he does fall down. And Adam was at my house one night, and we were hanging out with maybe drinks. And I convinced him to let me give him a haircut under the auspices of, I totally know what I'm doing. which I certainly did not do. And I found out that the next day he had to go get a real haircut. No problem. But in the midst of all of this, he was standing on my front porch, and one minute I'm talking to Adam, and the next minute, Adam is just in my bushes. And I was like, how's it going down there? Which is only funny until you realize the next day, you're calling him to see, hey, are we still going to brunch? And he doesn't answer, and you're like, well, what happened? And then you find out he's lost his cell phone, and 3 years later when I moved out of that place, I found it in the brambles underneath my deck. I think you got a new phone after some amount of time, but so, you also need to make sure that he has a crash helmet on at all times. And finally, this dude is fucking crazy. This year, he, in 48 hours, drove to Oregon to see an eclipse, stopped by San Francisco, and drove back. And I was like, hey, do you want to hang out? I was like, buddy, you've just been in a car for 3 days. I'm sure you smell horrible. No. And since you can't smell yourself, let me tell you, take a shot. Cheers.
No, not me, not right now. don't pay attention to me.
You really need to put more pressure on us. I don't have enough funny you.
It's about. Okay. Is this more champagne in it? No. Okay, back up. When did I like that?
Are there any comments on the YouTube video?
I don't know how to check that.
Oh, that's my back, and it's slow motion, so it's
I'm gonna say no.
Cool. So I'll say, I was thinking about what I would do to roast Adam, and instead just thought of so many things to roast myself. So, like for example, Adam and I work on the website together. Work is a loose term, website's a loose term. And every once in a while I'll see Adam and I'll be like, remember when we worked on the website? He'll be like, we never worked on the website. So it used to be that I helped Adam work on the website by sitting next to Adam while he did all of the work on the website and being like, how are you doing that? I don't understand the internet. But now I do stuff without you, and it's okay. So I appreciate the patience that you took there. It's going to be fine, you guys. The website is really, I got it. No one worry about anything. I will say that I can smell smoke if there's a fire, so we got that going on. When I almost got auditioned, when I interviewed to be a CA my freshman year, I did my interview and then put out a fire in Holt Kitchen right afterwards. Like 30 seconds after I left that room, I didn't get fired. And I was like, but I put a fire out. Adam wasn't around at that time because I came to Johnston when Adam was in his last year in between Johnston and working here. And when I showed up, no one was in love with me, but everyone did think I was the 22-year-old lesbian who was working in Johnston, but her name was Sarah Bellardo, and she sucked. That was a roast of Sarah Bellardo. She got married to a man in Vegas. She's very happy with her small dog. It's fine. Lesbian, am I right? Okay. But then I've had the pleasure of serving with Adam on a staff of a variety of types for 4 of his 5 years here, and that's really lovely. Adam's super nice to me. I am a terrible friend. Adam used to bring me a piece of cake every single time there was cake in Red Life for somebody's birthday. I have never brought Adam a dessert one time in our entire life. Adam gives me a gift every year on my birthday.
Amen.
I have never given Adam a gift.
Buy you a laptop?
He bought me a laptop. He bought me a laptop when I graduated because I didn't have a computer my entire senior year and just like watch TV on my phone in the CD apartment, and everyone would be like, Maggie, what are you doing sitting here alone? And I'm like, no, the TV's right here. Right? Do you see it? And then I replaced that laptop with a MacBook that I bought myself. That is love. Adam tells me he loves me all the time, but what is nice is that I tell him that I love him back, and I do. So here's to me getting better and trying to be as good as that, I'm not looking at you, as Adam, who's not in the corner right now, is, because I know that they are incredibly big shoes to fill, and that we will all miss him very much. And that Adam and I are very different people, although we are both the loudest person at the party. Whether or not we're intoxicated, we're so loud. We'd get killed first if A Quiet Place was real. And all of you would also be dead because they would find Complex like immediately. It would be over. I would laugh one time and the monster would be like, it's done. But I know that we have very different skills and we're different people, and I am looking forward to figure out how to fill Adam's enormous heart-sized hole that he's leaving, but with my own shape. And I love you very much, and I appreciate all of the mentorship you've given me in your time here. Here's to Adam. It's not that hard. You can get up here and talk about him. Cheers to you. Cheers.
No, I don't have anything to say. I'm sorry. I really don't. I'm not funny.
You don't have to be hilarious.
That's true.
Wide range promotion accepted. Also, apathy. You know what? You don't have to be funny. You could be sad. You could be apathetic. You could talk about things that aren't about Adam. You know,
If you're not funny, it will be sad. So.
You should be up there. That's a good one. Even multiple ones.
So, some of the people who are too scared to get up and talk would like to ask for a consensus for Adam to never have his Bushman beard again. Consent on that?
I like the way that talks. Get ready for renewal.
Look, I give it time.
So, Adam, there was a time where you had your own man cave, but it wasn't because of where you lived. It was because of all of it, right? And I realized that I remember seeing you wear suits only a couple of times for like the important occasions. But now, as MG noted in her poem, you're wearing threads all the time. And I was thinking about like maybe why this happened. And I go back to that fateful day at the alumni house in Renewal when you got the entirety of your head shaved, but I don't remember who at this point, but that doesn't matter as much. The point being, you were wearing a suit not too long after you got your head shaved. Cut, whatever. Which means You knew that you wanted to wear a suit, but you knew that you couldn't rock it with what you currently had, i.e. your Rocky Caveman head. Adam, I won't be around for Maggie. But I'll be here at renewal, so I get to see what everybody else thinks. Love you guys.
Alright, Ryan. I wasn't sure if this story was like too inappropriate, so, but I think I'll just stick it. Kai told me to. So,
That's good advice.
this is the only, so this is how I got over Adam after being that freshman. There was a lot of that. So, first of all, if he becomes your boss, that's like a pretty sure way. Step one. But especially if one of your first moments with him as your boss is this following story. So I was CA of 3rd Floor Holt my sophomore year, and so this would have been like 2.5 years ago, or 3.5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
3.5.
Yeah, and so I was sitting in my room. I was like kind of nervous because I wasn't really hanging out with the rest of the staff, and I wanted to be hanging out with them. I didn't know what they were doing. I was just like watching TV alone in my room. Then I heard some voices in the hall. I was like, oh, they're coming to get me to hang out. And then the voices passed, and there's no one living in the building yet. Like, it's just me and like the other CAs. There's no one on my floor. So I like peek out. I'm like, what's happening? Are they like having fun without me or whatever? And I look down the hall, and there's Adam and some guy I don't know, presumably a friend of yours, just like drunk, just like stumbling around the hallway. I'm like, what is happening? So I just like walked down there, like, I wasn't trying to be quiet, but I guess you didn't hear me. And then I get to the end, and they're talking about how they used to live in this one room and all of the like stuff they did in there, and, like, whatever, all the experiences they had in there. And I was just like standing there with they're talking for a while without me noticing. His friend like looks at me, makes eye contact. Adam turns around, hey Riley! And then I was so nervous and felt so awkward. I just was like, hi, bye, okay, bye. And I went back to my room. Probably like 5 to 10 minutes later, it was quite a while. There's a knock on my door, and Adam opens the door and he says, thank you so much for checking on me. And leaves. And I was like, yeah, he's not as cool and
If you guys just want to like hang out with each other and talk about Adam not in front of him, you can also do that. Adam Adam and I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do. This is the party structure that he decided on, so that he wouldn't have to tap dance for an hour and a half about like his feelings and his life. This is the call out culture. We have to call and get that.
Oh my.
Oh, do you need musical accompaniment?
Fuck yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Oh no. Not a Wi-Fi. Well, we could just play it. Oh wait. I'll continue to talk amongst yourselves. That's fine. Get some more hands. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't think I'm setting that was good. I can't believe I'd never heard that before. No, that's why as soon as it started, I was like, oh my lord, I've never heard this. I knew that, but I didn't think it was so hard. I knew that when you did freshman year, you said you had told me that. Yeah, like you were like, oh yeah, like that was kind of like
doing an improv thing
I wasn't expecting this. That was like really my last like no, that was good. That was huge.
It's tough to do.
I have like a little no, I know making fun of him about it.
Okay, it's happening.
You don't know it, but it's already.
Yes. Woo! So Melissa, you got
And it was also a slap. No. I got it.
Does anyone have a phone with a headphone jack?
No, that was good. I don't have a sword.
You should be Adam.
Johnny,
I'm not sure, like I'm worried that my word isn't going to come out perfect. Because I want to do... Oh, I will. No. That's like the wording has to be good. That's the wording has to be
This is a live stream right here.
A Chevrolet movie theater. Interior crocodile alligator. 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 A Chevrolet movie theater. Interior crocodile alligator.
Hey everyone, that could be you.
What are you playing?
That could be you. Or you can continue to quietly talk amongst yourselves. Oh, Evan's going. Get ready. Oh no, you're next though. You're ready. You know Adam.
So I wrote stuff down so I won't forget like I do in community meeting because I have many thoughts as usual. Adam and I, number one, hang out because of NTL. And we have pretty much every year, and there are times when men's group is literally just Adam and I, entire semesters. But it's been dope, and we've been able to hang out and bond a lot that way. I've decided that there are many words that can be used to describe Adam, but I've come up with 3. Kind, funny, nerd. And I think those are pretty spot on. If you don't know, Adam is a huge nerd. You probably know that, but I know a little bit of the depth to it because I'm also a nerd, but not nearly on Adam's scale. You might also not know he has some narcolepsy issues of basically staying up all the time. The other one? Insomnia. Insomnia, that one. Thank you. And so while he's he's not sleeping randomly, while he is not sleeping, he watches YouTube videos analyzing the deep lore of the Game of Thrones worlds in the books. And so if you're curious about the old history or the lore of the gods that created these worlds, Adam's your guy. He can definitely help you out with that. And so I always love talking theories with him. And speaking to his comedy, Adam is very funny. And I realized this at Buff Fest when I was laying down with my eyes closed and I heard the classic Adam, like, I want to call it like a two-liner, where he'll always progress a joke a little further than say something like, and then she goes, blah, 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 right? And then he kind of pauses, and then you hear his own laugh, like, louder than anybody else's laugh. Listen for it, you'll get it. I can't impersonate it that well, but I overheard it multiple times, mostly triggered by his laugh being louder than everyone else's that he told the joke to. And that's so awesome that you can laugh at your own jokes. That's a really important quality, I think, because, like, you gotta have fun, and like, I don't know, that's just great. But actually, I think there are more words, more adjectives that can be used along with kind. I think, Adam, you're a very genuine, open, intelligent, and gentle person, and for that reason, you make people feel very welcome and safe, and you've made Men's Group a success because of that. MTL used to be called Johnston Men's Support Group, but as Adam and I discovered, men don't really like to admit that they need support sometimes. But like Adam is so open and warm and so naturally supportive that it's easy, and for that reason he's such an important part of it. And I know that like Adam has supported me over the years consistently, and so many others, and that's such an admirable quality. I don't know how you can bear like the stress of so many different people, because I know so many people come to you, but at the same time you're so relaxed and happy, and it's like a really amazing feat. I'm not sure how you do it, and I just want to say, like, you also embody a really like positive, healthy form of masculinity that I really, really look up to, and yeah, you're just a really amazing person, and a great friend, and I love you.
Yay! As usual, we'll be good cop, bad cop.
Actually, I have a bad copy.
Oh.
You can go first.
Okay, so Adam haunts my nightmares. I've had multiple dreams of him doing weird things. My most recent includes waking up in my bed, staring at my ceiling, and him being there, squawking at me and flying out the window. See, there's so many weird encounters of the Adam kind throughout my 4 years here that I don't really know if that was reality or not. Every encounter with him is like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
So to continue and do a little bit of roasting, I'm part of IRA with Adam, and I think one of the most upsetting moments in IRA happened when we were reading Ready Player One, and Adam had neglected to tell me that he finished the book ahead of time, and so I was like reading a couple of chapters, and there's still like 3 or 4 to go, and he just finished the book, and so did Bella before me, and I was just very upset because it's like, we gotta do this together.
You never specified what the end was.
That's not the point.
If you were the one left out, then me and Adam did our job.
So, yeah, left behind. So that's my only roast, really. In terms of toast, Adam has been an amazing, consistent presence in my entire time here in Johnston. I think I've gotten to know him more this semester rather than any other semester, and I don't know anyone or any like residence life director that like checks in with their like people that they watch over. Like, he set up a time with me to meet and talk about my transition from going on campus to off campus. And I didn't know how much I needed that until I like sat down and talked with him in his office. And I felt so like special that he would take the time out of his day to meet with me and check in on my well-being and like actively figure out ways to make my life easier. And I just appreciated that so much. And Adam puts in so much effort into everything he does in this community every single day. And I think it often goes unnoticed. So I just wanted to express that tidbit of appreciation. I love IRA, and I wish I had like done it more consistently throughout the time that I've been here, because I want to keep doing book club for the rest of my life. I will always remember the time when Adam and I ate a habanero together as part of a bet. Well, really, I was the only one who was supposed to eat the habanero, but because Adam's nice, he decided to eat it with me. So we had that experience.
Adam has the ability to like incorporate just the right amount of like goofiness with professionalism, that it just like takes you in, and you can rely on him for like all of the good qualities because he is a mature adult. He's able just to connect with you on like a humorous level that I think makes like his position very prominent in this community. So it will be missing a very big person in the future, non-existent. So yeah.
Yeah, so Adam is a really big reason that I'm in this program, other than Charlotte, who dragged me into applying during FYJ. Adam was the one who dragged me into living here. I remember just walking through the basement one day, and Adam just pops his head around the corner, as he so often does, and just scared the living shit out of me. Just like into a room, hey! Hi! Strange older man walking through. He was like, you want to live here? Like, you like that room? You want to live in this? So I look at the two guys that were living there that I had just met maybe 5 minutes before that. I was like, can I live here? And it ended up working out, and then I've taken the path I have here in Johnson, so I owe that to Adam. And I was really excited to meet him and become friends with him, because I was like 18 coming into college. I was like, hell yeah, I have a friend in his older 20s. We're gonna go out. He's gonna get me into places. Only calls I get from Adam, 11:45. He's like, hey, new game just came out. Pizza's on the way. I got 3 different types of juice in the fridge. And I got nothing to do more. It's not the types of calls you usually expect, but it's the types of calls that makes Adam a really special friend of mine, because that's exactly what I needed, and he helped bring out that part of myself and help me really find my place in this community. So I just wanted to say, it's been great. This isn't the end for us. One day we will make it out to those bars. I love you.
Someone requested that I do a monologue about Adam. Would that be okay with you? I don't know if it'll be as good as my other monologues, but I'll give it a shot. Which animal is Adam?
Which animal is Adam?
Well, alright, that's really just some. We're gonna get a lot of famous Adam-isms. And I kind of had to work this out in my head, so it's kind of rough. So don't roast me. So a monologue about our dear old Adam. Where to start? Boy, I look good in this suit, don't I? Oh, I really like this long beard thing. Now I want to go for a nice clean-shaven look. You know, I might have a little bit of scruff, but just kind of so I can look cool. Men's Talk Laundry meets this evening at 5 o'clock, so be there. Integrated Reading Association begins, I don't know, whenever the hell we feel like it. We're gonna read some long, boring, thought-provoking book. Weeks on end. so I'm Julie the Dane. Hey Aaron, what's up? Literally, he says that to me all the time. Hey, anybody want to do a crossword? No, seriously, I really need help with this crossword right now. Hey guys, come on in. I got the pizza ready. Now we can play our nerdy board game. Anybody want to watch a movie with me? Hey MG, could you come over here and help me with something? Hey guys, can we have a discussion about this? I don't know any more good atomisms. Can't be lied.
Aaron, can we follow your lead and just go around with our favorite atomisms? Because now you made me think of two.
Yeah, hold on, or let me tell one more.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of everybody's one. Buffalo! Yeah, go ahead.
Ireland for the Irish?
Yeah.
I put people in boxes.
Yes. I got one. Hello! I got one. Yeah. Cool. Any more atomisms?
For sure. Hello.
So what are we doing today? Yeah.
It's about I studied pretending.
If you're on the phone with someone and Adam's like, tell them I say hi. Yeah.
Okay, so it has to go under proposals before the announcement.
Wow, it's not even convenient. Still, that's no
Question. We're still trying for Matt with one T. Yeah. Maybe what would be good now is we just fill them out, and if you have something you want to tell me or write down. Oh shit! Okay.
Up there.
One of my favorite things about Adam is that he likes to read and walk. Is Bill McDonald still here?
Oh no, go back, girl.
Hashtag Bill McDonald. And I think it's really great. Like, I love walking around campus and just like seeing you reading and like poking your little head up and hi, Olivia. Like, it's great. I just really hope you never read by a cliff.
I don't know if you'll see good. I might do it.
I don't know what they got in this one. Anyway, okay, that was some part. Moving on. I have like a kind of funny story about Adam too. One time there was a bunch of cats hanging out in Java, as we do, like in the morning, and this old man who this old man, I don't know who the heck this guy is. And he just walks in and he's like, he sees like Adam with all these beautiful young women, and he's like, wow, how'd you score a job with all these good lookers? This is amazing. This is amazing. And Adam just goes, be careful. So that's some food for thought. Adam, I love you.
Me too.
Bigger crowd than last time. Okay. This was written by a friend, but they don't want to say it, so I will.
Okay. Adam. Some people think you have weird hair, interesting fashion taste, and that your water bottle's stupid, but like, I don't think your water bottle's stupid. But yeah, I love you, and you bring a lot to this community, and I'm really gonna miss your presence. You're so wholesome and pure. I love you.
I'm not gonna sit down because I get nervous when I sit down.
Very.
Okay. I do. Okay. So I'm pretty sure my mom thinks I'm dating my CD because every time, or RD, because every time, you know? Yeah, no. But like my RD, because like every time I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm on the phone with my mom quite a lot, all the time. Adam's always there, and it's like, tell your mom I love her. I think she's told by Adam that he loves her more than I tell my mother that I love her. Which I tell my mom I love her a lot. So that's like really hard to do. Riley's nodding in the back like, yeah, you do. Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to say, Adam, is you're like the only other person who I know who like can be spastic and professional at the same time. And I like, you know, a quality that I strive to emulate in my life because I too am spastic and I'm working on the professional part. And you know, but I also too love to burst into conversations like I was there from the beginning. But I wasn't. But I like desperately want to be involved. You know the feeling. Yeah. So I'm working on how to do that, but like in a professional, lighthearted way. In terms of like, I was always here, include me in your conversation, but also don't act like this is weird, because you weren't here before. So anyway, I hope you carry that tradition on with you wherever you go. I also, low-key, at this meeting, right, I was sitting next to Katie, looked up reasons you shouldn't move to Austin. I also looked up reasons you shouldn't move to Hawaii.
Oregon.
Or Oregon, but they were all like the 12 reasons why you should, not the 12 reasons why you shouldn't. So I didn't come up with anything, except I do think you should stay mainland because tickets to Hawaii are really expensive, and for all of us who want to visit you, it's a bit problematic. So in self-interest, I think you should just stay here in the continental U.S., but like in a cool city, so maybe not Redlands. Yeah. All right. That's all I have to say. Thank you for being so.
She said I didn't know you were dating, like looking at us.
You can
I was
just
like,
be
that's
nice.
very odd.
Roast and toast. Adam only advertises.
So I wrote these little on like 4 different corners of the house. Or never mind, there are 8 squares, all words.
8
Sorry. Okay, so I guess I'll start with like freshman year. So I remember during OE going down to, I think it was called like the middle school dance.
Yeah.
And I remember being afraid. I think afraid would be the right word. And I left. And I found the same type of space that I found in every other middle school dance that I've gone to, which was where the video games were being played. And it was your room, or it was your office. And I think Zach and I ended up playing video games in your office during the middle school dance. And it was just the perfect like parallelism. Because like that's always what I did. And then we haven't hung out that much. That's mostly on my fault because I think I stopped saying it after like the 2nd year. But I said that I was going to be an IRA. And then never read the book, and I think I came to one meeting and said, I didn't read this. I'm very tired. I'm going to go to bed. And then I didn't go to bed, but I just didn't stay.
This
walking by your room on my way back from the library or the Jimmy room on my way back to my room to go to sleep, and your door would be open, and there would be people, and I'd be like, great, I don't need to go to bed yet, but I really do, but I'm just gonna defer that and just hang out with you for a bit. I have learned that I love National Chef Junior. It's amazing. It's so good. You introduced me to the song that was played earlier, like maybe a month ago, and I'm very happy that's in my life. And then we've talked about Brookstones and weird shit, or weird things. Yeah. And then Evan wants me to mention this, and I don't have a great memory, so I wasn't going to claim it as my own thing that I remember. But after 5 p.m. at community meetings, you used to take off your tie and put it around your head. And I just want to let you know that we are in the same space, and it's currently 5:10, and that I'm very disappointed in you. So you can't make up for that, but like, and then the community meetings, you've always inspired like this sense of continuity that I think is very difficult to have in Johnston, where like we look to you, and we're like, what is happening? What is the process? As a freshman, I would just like watch this happen, and then I would just look over at you and be like, is this okay? Is this how things are supposed to go? And then I'd second guess myself, and then like 2 seconds later, you'd be like, no, this is wrong. I'd be like, thank God, because like I had no idea how it was supposed to go. And I had a few rules in my head, and they've been broken, and now I know nothing about what Johnston is. So like I appreciate that. And then I love playing D&D with you. I think I've only played 1 game, but like the social is amazing. So good. I think I remember having to go to bed and being like, this campaign's gonna take an hour, and it was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, cool, I can stay then, I can do it, and I'll still be able to get sleep. And then it took an hour to get everyone together, and then it took an hour and a half to run through the campaign. But it was worth it. So much more worth it than any homework is. So like, thank you. Yeah. I don't know. The only roast that I have is that like it's more on me because like I wish that we had spent more time hanging out. But like your door was always open, so like I can't really roast you. Why didn't you live on 3rd floor?
What?
Okay. So I don't really have anything to roast Adam on. But I tried really hard. So this morning, as some of you may know, I've known Adam for what seems like forever. You've had Adam for 4 years, maybe longer, 5. I think it's been 10 years. 2008, yes, indeed. So this morning, in preparation of this afternoon, I looked up Adam's précis. Oh my Because as you know, having gone through this experience, many of you, some of those little nuggets that just maybe you didn't do so well in that one class, we find ways to kind of bury those in there, you know, frame it in the coffee sandwich. So I was like, oh, I'm going to extract all those bad things and just share them. But sadly, there were none. All good things. So, and I thought I could go back and get all of the evaluations, but then that would have really sucked for Teresa. So I didn't do that. So my one roast is I would say, so I tell Adam how beautiful he is all the time, like all the time. So much so that Adam one time told me, Kelly, you really shouldn't say that. It's not professional. But I just kept doing it. And here we I love you very much. It's so great to have students stay forever, just never leave. So, thanks for staying and thanks for leaving.
I'm going to say we have time for one more. If anybody else wants to get up and say something. And just like with Roger, this is not the last time you can tell Adam something you hate about him or something you love about him. So that's how this one we're doing. He's already had a run. Yes. Trish, like, I'm
I have two favors to ask of Ghost Adam.
all right.
Favor number one is, can we text you anytime in the next, like, let's say 3 years to say, hey, Adam, what happened when this, or how do we do that? Or because Adam remembers everything, first of all. His memory, institutional memory is incredible. And second of all, will you please, as an alum, champion the wall of money?
Yes.
Wall of money.
Yeah, there you
Wall
go.
of money. None of you know what that is. Ask Adam what the wall of money is.
I'll tell you later.
Never forget that Adam has an MBA. He's never forget. He's like, all right, that last. All right, well, wait, one more road. Okay, Adam went to school. Oh, yeah. All right.
Never mind. I think we pretty much just talking quotes at this point.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give you one more obscure quote, which is, "You fail to realize the depths to which this is really hell."
So I just want to thank everyone for coming. Feel free to throw away your trash, eat more food, help me clean up after the party. Senior dinner starts at 6 for seniors who are attending the dinner. Senior dinner starts when someone texts you. Woo! For everyone else who wants to come crash the dancing. I will just end by saying that one time Adam and I, back when I used to like go out and be hip, went to take a salsa dancing lesson together.
Oh yeah.
You show us.
No, there are no pictures from that.
And also, Adam and I did not learn how to salsa. What we did both do was try to hook up with Priscilla Bell before she left to marry her army husband. And when we went, we're like, it's happening for one of us, it happened for neither of us. And Adam had to salsa with people, and I had to dance with so many men, and I was so sad. But Adam made me do fun things, and that's nice about him. So cheers, one last cheers to Adam.
Oh shit. I'm gonna end this. One person watched it, so whoever that was.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I wish all the best for you. Look forward to seeing what adventures.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll be just yet, but I'm excited about it also. How do I stop this? Oh, here we are.